Welcome to another edition of Wolf Talk, live on KVCK, keeping you up to date on local issues that affect you and your community with live in-studio guests. Wolf Talk with your host, Randy Lynn Lauper.
And I want to thank everyone for joining us today for Wolf Talk. We have a special guest in studio, Mr. Ted Rensvold. He approached me yesterday and said he kind of fell victim to a scam, and he wanted the public to be aware of what was kind of going on in his story so that you folks out there can be aware that this is going on and protect yourselves from it. Because, you know, Ted, you and I know you very well. You're my landlord, and you're a family friend and everything, and you're a pretty smart guy.
Well, after day before yesterday, I'm not going to agree to that. Maybe what?
Just aren't going to agree with that, huh?
No, and to tell you what happened is I got a phone call, and the guy said he was from Amazon, and that a customer or somebody had charged $379.00 to my Amazon account, but they were out of Louisiana, and that's why he was calling, because he knew we were from Montana. And he asked if I was from him, and I says, no, I have had no contact with Arizona or Louisiana. And he said, well, as a company, we're going to be kind. We're going to put $400 into your account to pay you for that $379.20 is just a compensation for the inconvenience, and that way, when you bill and stuff, you can get it paid.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first mistake when I said, okay. He said, all I need is the last 4 digits of your checking account. So I gave him. I've got a small checking account, and I gave him the last 4 digits of that account. And he said, okay, I'll put $400 in there. And he says, can you check and see if that money got into your account? Because he said, I just entered it into your account. Very intelligent, very smart man.
Mm-hmm.
So I did, because I have access to my account through my computer. And when I got in there, I looked at it, and I says, yes, it's there. But I said, there's a mistake, because it was $40,000, not $400.
Wow.
The period at the end of the last 2 zeros was moved. Anyway, when I saw that, that's when I realized something was extremely haywire here. So I told my wife to call the bank and cancel all activity on all my accounts at the bank. And,
you know, you got that red flag right away just because you were kind of aware that this isn't normal. But by then, I mean, you'd already given him access to a lot of information. I'm sure it was just like a panic.
Yeah, it was. At that point, I had given him. I realized that he had more information, and somehow or another on that deal, when I got onto my computer, he also had access to my computer. And after I told my wife to call the bank and cancel all activities, then I became the curious old man and decided I'd carry this out because they couldn't do anything at the bank anyway.
Yeah.
So I sat and listened to him.
Mm-hmm.
And what he wanted me to do was go into the bank and have them send a check, money order check or cashier's check, whatever you call it, and it was in Thailand at that point. And then I knew, this is, but for $39,400. But he said, don't tell him what you're doing, send it as a medical emergency.
Wow.
So at this point, flags go flying, but I just kind of roll along with him as I'm driving, going to the bank, and he wanted me to stay on the phone while I was in the bank. Well, I hung up the phone.
Yes.
And when I talked to the bank, and they'd already shut my accounts down, they started, explaining what was going on. And yes, the $40,000 was showing up towards. It never got onto my account.
Yeah.
But it was showing up there. Plus, they'd also, by that time, tried to make access to my other accounts.
And your credit cards as well.
Yes.
All right. And so just one little thing out there, you had to shut down pretty much your life. Just from this one little phone call.
Yes. And you can't not do things on the phone. I don't want this to go there. It's just that you have to be extremely careful the information you give to the people you talk to on the phone. That's what it is. Because right now, it took me 2 days. I had to change all my bank numbers, all my credit card numbers. I've got my computer being cleaned up. My phone number's changed. I'm a new person.
Starting anew, just didn't want to, but you were kind of forced to.
Yes.
And that's a really good point too, Ted, is we get these phone calls and we get emails and we get texts from places that say, hey, we're trying to help you with this. It's sad that we have to be, cautious about saying, I don't think this person is trying to help me. I think they're just trying to get access to my life so they can, do a scam. But it's just sad that we can't trust that. And, that's why what I've always been told is, if you get a phone call from somebody saying, your credit card's been compromised, you hang up and you go to your credit card and you actually get the phone number off the credit card, call them. You don't, follow through with the however they've reached you. You go to the source itself instead of following through with that. And I'm sure you probably now you would just hang up and just, get a hold of your Amazon account on your own and, find somebody that direction.
Both my wife and I, we hang up on calls where we don't recognize the number. Mm-hmm. Why I answered this one the other day, I don't know. But anyway, and also on emails, you get emails where if you enter this or punch this number, they'll give you a free computer. You've won a free computer. We just need some information. Mm-hmm. No, those things, I erase those right off the bat. I never open them up.
Yep.
This one, and that kind of why I wanted to come in here. These guys are very good. They're very adept and they sound very professional.
Well, and we were talking before we went on the air too, Ted. You kind of got training, your background with the military and stuff. You're aware of when people are telling the truth and not telling the truth. Yeah. So that's what kind of put a red flag up for me. It's like, well, Ted's right on this kind of stuff, and this guy must have been really good.
Yeah, no, and they are. And I've, since this started, just conversations around, it's been amazing the number of people that have been in the last week or so, where I took my computer in and get it cleaned up and my phone number changed and stuff like that. The people in these businesses are talking about the number of other people that have come in to have things corrected. So it's becoming a major spam movement or whatever you want to call it.
And it's not just, this was the scam that affected you, but there's similar ones that, are different ways that people get in touch with their victims, so to speak.
Yes. And you hear quite frequently older ladies, older men, older people that aren't computer intelligent and stuff like that, going to the bank and cashing out a big check for somebody. And the bank realizes there's something wrong and stops them. But sometimes they probably get through with it. It's scary.
Well, and I know like a few years back, I had a family member who she got a phone call saying her grandson was in jail and needed money, and that she was supposed to be talking to the grandson, and she's like, this just doesn't sound like him. And he's like, Grandma, you got to wire me this money. I need it now. I got to get out. And she hung up and called her grandson, and he's like, I wasn't calling you. I mean, these people are smart, so you just gotta stop, take a breath, and it's scary when it's your life and your finances. You want to just say, fix it, but you can't trust people all the way that way.
No, and I don't recommend that people quit using computers, because we have to use those. We have to use online purchasing and stuff like that. I'm not here to turn that down. Just be very, very careful on the information you give people that you don't know about.
Exactly.
That's the key, I think, more than anything else. It really is.
Now, are there any other things that you're worried about popping up, maybe with your credit and everything else? I'm sure you had to contact credit agencies and that kind of stuff too.
I changed my credit card numbers. I changed my bank numbers. I changed my phone number, and everything that right now is changed. I'm going to get out of Facebook. I might start a new page later on, but I'm going to get out of Facebook. That was the end result of one small or large mistake, whatever you want to call it. It was 2 days of getting things corrected again, yes.
Any advice you'd have for folks out there?
Be careful. I mean, you got to use the computers. This world we have right now, we can't get along without computers. Online buying is not bad. I mean, it's good. But be really, really careful with the scam-based phone calls and on your phone or the computer where they'll give you stuff and stuff like that. That's where the harm and the danger comes in with the computer right now.
Well, and Ted, you and I had talked before we actually started doing this interview that we were thinking about older folks, but it's not just older folks that could fall victim to this. You're talking a young kid who's out of school, out of high school, going to college, and they get a phone call saying, hey, let me put this money in. There was a mistake in your account, and that kid needs the money because, he's got to buy textbooks for school or whatever. It's easy to say, oh, sure, yeah, here you go. Do it.
Well, and you see, when this one went from $400 to $40,000, we got to talking over here at the bank, and they assume that they're laundering money, illegal, whatever money they got. I'm laundering it for them. And now you present that to somebody that needs some money and is financially stressed a little bit, it becomes pretty easy to say yes to that situation very quickly. Mm-hmm. That's where you got to be careful, because now at that point they've got access to everything you have, literally. Mm-hmm. And that's what you have to be really careful about.
Exactly. So. Anything else, Ted, that you'd like to... No, I'm sure you contacted what's the location in Helena where they basically, the fraud...
I called the FBI.
Okay.
As I was in Glasgow yesterday. And I haven't got the information to him yet, but I've got where they wanted me to mail or to have them send this check or this
information,
bank check and stuff like that. And I want to give that to them and let them know what went on. So.
Good.
And if somebody else gets into this situation, I think they need to do that also, so that we can get the information out and how they're working, so everybody knows to be careful.
Yes, and with these situations, you can contact your local authorities and let them know, and they'll send it to the right entities and get the word out that this is a scam. And I'm sure there's other people that have fallen victim to this or hung up the phone and didn't fall victim, but said, yeah, it was the same type of thing. And then we can just get the word out to the public a little bit more. Yeah,
and the other thing I was thinking about on the way in, don't be afraid to admit that you made a mistake, because you learn by mistakes. And if you let the other people know about your mistake, they maybe won't make the same mistake as I did.
Learn from Ted Rensvold, please. Don't do what Ted did. No.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, that's basically why I came in here, because I really don't... It bothers me that this is going on, and it's this fast and furious right now. People have to be aware of it.
Well, and we appreciate you as a citizen coming in and, wanting to let other folks know that this is going on and it affected you. And just a good reminder that you've got to really be aware of people contacting you. They might have other ulterior motives. Yes. Got to really stop and think about it before you say yes to something.
Yes, I agree.
Well, thank you, Ted. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm done. I guess right now.
You're done.
Hopefully I learned enough so I don't have to make another mistake and come back and talk to you again. So.
All right. Well, maybe you'll become an expert with, helping folks with this. You never know.
Well, we'll see about that. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Ted. And we're going to get back to some music in just a sec.
Welcome to another edition of Wolf Talk, live on KBCK, keeping you up to date on local issues that affect you and your community with live in-studio guests. Wolf Talk with your host, Brandy Lynn Lauper.